move over to an athlete that I do love. His jersey's hanging up right outside in my lounge here. Reggie Miller, all-time great pacer. He took a little sneak diss shot at Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, Scap. I want to get your ruling on this. But he compared her to Peyton Pritchard. And you know more about Peyton Pritchard than I do, but let's hear from
you guys have seen Caitlin play. She's a one-of-ones, but is there like a comparison of someone either you played with or you guys watching the game right now that reminds you of the young lady to your right?
The words hung heavy in the air, a stunning accusation aimed directly at Caitlin Clark. Reggie Miller, the legendary Pacers icon, compared her to Peyton Pritchard. She stood there on set, forced to smile through what many immediately labeled an undeniable humiliation. This was not a compliment. It felt like a calculated dig that left viewers stunned, questioning how she managed to stay in place. The basketball world watched in disbelief as a respected legend appeared to minimize the most influential player in women's sports. The tension was unmistakable. A shocking moment unfolded live, igniting outrage and confusion.
If that, Jason, I didn't know when I saw this on the rundown or on the little the sheet of rundown of what we were going to talk about. I didn't know that Caitlin, I didn't see the clip until just now. I didn't know she was on the set while that happened. That I would have just walked off. If I was Caitlin Clark, I would have just walked off at that point. Like Caitlin Clark is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA, at least in her importance to that league. And then if you want to go to a specific comp, I would say just be safe and say Steph Curry. They're two, elite.
The insult felt immediate and unmistakable. Peyton Pritchard. The hosts reacted in disbelief, questioning whether he was even among the top 60 players in the NBA. This was not a simple mistake. It came across as a direct and unfiltered shot from a former star of the game. To place Clark, who is lifting her entire league almost on her own, on the same level as a role player felt deliberately dismissive. The boldness of the comparison, especially with Clark standing right there, was hard to believe. It felt like a public slap in the face, a moment that demanded clarity, yet none came.
Her passing led the league in assists as a rookie. Scap, I think it's obvious here. You know who Reggie Miller's big sister is? Cheryl. He took a shot on Cheryl's behalf. And I don't even know where Cheryl comes down on the Caitlin Clark deal, but I think that's what motivated Reggie is Caitlin's a bigger deal than my sister. She shouldn't be, so let me diminish her by comparing her to... It took all of his discipline not to say Jeremy Lin, because that's what he really wanted to say.
Imagine being Caitlin Clark, the generational talent dominating every conversation, and hearing that comparison live. The hosts watching the moment admitted they would have walked off immediately. Clark's composure, standing there with a polite smile, revealed her professionalism, but the disrespect beneath it was impossible to ignore. It underscored the enormous pressure she carries, even from figures considered legends of the game. The restraint she showed in that moment only made the humiliation feel louder.
It took all of his discipline not to say Jeremy Lin, because that's what he really wanted to say. She reminds me a lot of Jeremy Lin, flashing a bit.
I think you're right. I think he probably would have liked to say that. And I like Reggie as a player, but he has been doing questionable things in the broadcast booth for years. This guy's been drooling and slobbering over LeBron James, like at every stretch and any opportunity that he gets. So I'm not the highest or the biggest fan of your guy, Reggie, in the booth. I liked him on the court. But again, another guy that really hasn't benefited from picking up the microphone.
The respectful comparisons for Clark were obvious to everyone watching. Why not Stephen Curry? Both are elite shooters, thrive off movement without the ball, and redefine the game despite their size. The similarities were impossible to miss, from their breakout moments on the national stage to their undeniable market power. Instead, Miller chose a comparison that did not align at all, making the decision feel less analytical and more intentional. The disconnect stunned even fellow panelists like Carmelo Anthony, who at least suggested Luka Doncic.
With Peyton Pritchard. I mean, first of all, you're a broadcaster, and you've made most of your audience go, well, man, I got to go to Google and find out who Peyton Pritchard is. because it's just not. You didn't compare to James Harden or Dame Lillard or any of these guys with big brands. Peyton Pritchard. People had to go to Google to find and he did the race thing, compared it to a white guy. This is just bad, Reggie. Reggie, we've seen a lot of athletes apologize for things they shouldn't apologize for. Reggie should apologize.
To be clear, Peyton Pritchard was a bench player until very recently. It was quickly noted that he only entered a starting role due to injuries. The Celtics had moved on from key players from their 2024 championship core, creating an opening for Pritchard. Comparing Clark, a once-in-a-generation star, to someone who became a starter out of necessity, only further exposed the weak foundation of Miller's argument. It reinforced the belief that this moment was about far more than basketball.
Look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to take a little cheap shot at Reggie, and Reggie forced me into it. If we were off camera and I was speculating about, I'd first say he's taking a cheap shot for Cheryl, and then I would go like, man, Reggie has shown a lack of discipline as it relates to his lust. He got jammed up stalking some married woman that flew a sign, her husband I think flew a sign, and I'm just like, oh, did he make a pass? Did he flirt with Caitlin Clark and she shut him down, and now he's taking a little shot?
The numbers told an even harsher story. Pritchard, despite starting, was averaging under 17 points per game in the NBA. In today's high-scoring era, that production mirrored 8 or 9 points per game in the 1990s or early 2000s. That context erased any claim that the comparison was harmless. It came across as a clear and undeniable attempt to diminish Clark's dominance and influence. With every statistic, the intent behind the remark became harder to defend.
Comments with the referee, I know everybody was like, oh man, why'd you mention being a black man in America? Well, the reason I mentioned being a black man in America because black people in America has suffered more than anyone. Black people in America has been mistreated more than anyone. Black people in America has been marginalized more than anyone. Black people in America has been dealt a bad hand since the beginning of time. And so the reason I spoke about being a black man in America is because
A provocative theory soon surfaced regarding Miller's possible motivation. Some speculated the comment was influenced by loyalty to his sister, Cheryl Miller. The idea suggested that Clark's unprecedented fame may have unintentionally eclipsed Cheryl's legendary legacy. By minimizing Clark, some believed Reggie was subtly protecting that history, even if Cheryl herself held no resentment. It framed the moment as a deeply personal issue playing out on a public stage, adding another troubling layer to an already uncomfortable situation.
Nobody in the history of the world has been as mistreated as black people. Guys sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars for playing a game of basketball. He can't conjugate subject and verb. Black people. He's an ignoramus that is tall and can play basketball. And he gets to say this kind of stuff. Anyway, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just a totally and utterly tone-deaf take by him. It's not surprising, Jason. I don't understand why he even puts himself in these situations.